Okay, we are back. We are back. We are back. Let's try. Let's tag some people. See if we can get some viewers back. Hey, Jen, can you share the video again? Okay. Tag some people. Tag some people. Maybe this will work better now. Okay. I'm back on. You should be able to share it again. A new one.
I did share a new one, but it's not letting me click in. So, oh, I can click in now.
Okay. Okay. We got some viewers back.
It says the video is ended.
That's the old one. There's a new one. Misa here. Misa here, says Harrison Cobb. Misa here. That sounds more like Consuela than Jar Jar. Okay, let me know if the video is okay.
I can only hear you.
Jen says she can't see me.
I can see you now.
Okay, she can see me now. We're having some technical difficulties tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Having some technical difficulties tonight. Please share the video. Please share. Hey, Patrick, how are you? Patrick Gagliardi from Stormforce, ladies and gentlemen. This might not be, this show tonight might not be up your alley tonight, Patrick. We're talking about epilepsy tonight, but glad to see you. You know what? Oh, where is it? I literally just had the Stormforce Japanese import next to me, and now I can't find it. I have you have too many CDs when. Anyway, Stormforce, fucking awesome band. And you know what, Patrick? Seriously, I've been playing the album all week. All week, I've been playing the album. And it's been a rough week. Like I said, we're talking about epilepsy tonight. My wife has epilepsy. It has been a rough week. And your songs, Because of You, Breathe, Age of Fear, Weight of the World. Thanks for the songs, man. Like, seriously, thanks for the songs. They've really helped me a lot this week. It just froze for not 1 second. Okay, well, I hope it stays unfrozen. Okay, so we're all back now. Hello, we're back. I think. I hope. Give me some feedback before I start going at it again. I hope. I don't know what the problem is. Give me some feedback, ladies and gentlemen. Give me some feedback, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to know if I'm freezing up. I hope not. I just wanted to get just some confirmation before I start talking again. Unless I'm frozen and you can't.
I only have a dark screen.
A dark screen.
The comments and reactions will appear based on when people let them during.
Have you pushed play?
Yeah, not letting me re-push play. Here, I'll come out to you.
No, it's okay. I just Okay. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? You know what? I'm glad Aaron's here. I'm hoping to have him on a little bit later when I'm done my spiel. I'm going to start now, okay? So picking up where we left off when we first noticed Jen's, those 2 seizures, I mean, they were very troublesome. She got diagnosed with epilepsy, just froze shit. On the YouTube side, maybe you guys should be watching on YouTube, not Facebook. Go over to YouTube. Everybody go to the YouTube instead of the Facebook. It's Facebook's fault. Okay. Anyway, so we started noticing all of these seizures, and we noticed that certain things can trigger them, and definitely bright flashing lights are one of the worst triggers. But even things like stress, food, and temperature can really trigger a seizure. We got married, had a great wedding, no issues with the cameras at all. Flashing, I was worried, but no issues. We got married. She moved to Kitchener. And hey, Candace, YouTube's good. Everybody watch on YouTube, not Facebook. Okay. You know what? I'll post the link to YouTube so that you guys can go there. And can go there. Oops. Audio delay. Okay. There's the YouTube link. Posted on my personal page.
I shared it.
Thanks, babies. Did you share the YouTube link?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So go to the YouTube link and watch there. It'll be better. Okay. Boo, Facebook. Agreed. Pissing me off. Hey, Rosanna, how you doing? Rosanna from Brazil, everybody. Okay, so moved to Kitchener, started working at Research in Motion. Remember them? BlackBerry? Yeah, sure you remember them. And her health was so good at that point that she was working day shifts. She was working overnight shifts, taking public transit in the middle of the night. No problems. Our first neurologist was a real winner named Dr. Best, and we used to call him Dr. Worst. He was so flaky. He couldn't seem focused on Jen. He was talking about this, that, and the other thing that goes on in the brain. And, you know, I'm not going to be talking about any of that stuff tonight. I'm talking about how epilepsy has affected our lives, because I'm not a doctor. I can tell you how a seizure looks and how it affects her, but I can't tell you what's going on in the brain. So, you know, Dr. Best would love to just go on and on and on. And we used to say that Dr. Best could be in the middle of the Vietnam War, you know, up to his neck in bullets, and he'd go on the ground and he'd be like, oh, well, isn't that an interesting rock? I'm going to sit here and look at this rock for a while people are shooting at me. You know, it was ridiculous. YouTube, Chris. Go to YouTube. And, you know, there's been a lot of stuff that we haven't been able to do. Over the years, as it got worse, the photosensitivity got worse. So we haven't been able to go see a movie in many, many, many years. According to my notes, the last movie that we saw together was Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay in 2008. It was probably the first movie we watched as a married couple. No issues at Harold and Kumar. But then when we went to see the Muppets in 2011, we didn't even get past the opening commercials. We had to leave. It was a tough moment to realize that we were probably not going to be able to go see movies again. You know, some of our first dates were going on movies. So that wasn't easy. The last concert we went to see, I don't know the year anymore, but I'm thinking it was around 2010, was the Trailer Park Boys. And the tickets weren't cheap. It was at the center in the square. And we had to leave partway through the show. Didn't get to finish the show. we went out into the lobby, and I asked, if after she's rested for a minute, if we could go back in. And unfortunately, once you leave the venue, you can't go back in. So we had to go home, and we missed the second half of Trailer Park Boys. And we never saw any kind of live event again, ever. She even had a seizure at my sister's CD release concert a few years ago. And I was performing live at that one. And she had to go home. And her mom took her home. That was tough. We can't go to church. She has had a seizure every single time we went to church the last, 7 or 8 times. And we could never figure it out why. I wondered if it was like the ceiling fans creating a strobing effect, but I couldn't see anything like that. So couldn't figure out why. But we haven't been able to go to church in that long. They got worse from there. Multiple events every week. One of the most difficult for me was when she was working at Research in Motion. I went to pick her up after work, and I used to meet her at this gas station across the street from RIM. And she was kind of like standing dazed at the crosswalk, and I was afraid she was going to walk out into traffic, but I crossed the street and I got to her and got her in the car safely. She was a smoker back then, so she used to like to stand at that corner and have a cigarette. She couldn't smoke at the gas station, obviously. So that was scary. There was another incident where she was coming home from work, and I'll never forget the look on her face. There was a problem. She texted me, or she called me, one of the two, that she'd had a seizure at Fairview Mall waiting for the bus. And so I met her at the bus stop there at Fairview. And I remember she was sitting on the bench with her mouth open like that. And she was like stone. Like you couldn't budge her. And that was another scary one. The concerts thing, it kind of came to a head when, do you remember when U2 did a promotion with BlackBerry and they had those fucking annoying TV ads that were on during every fucking hockey game? Well, Research in Motion were known for being very generous to their staff with concerts. They held a private Aerosmith concert for them. They held a private Tragically Hip concert for their employees. The U2 concert wasn't private, but they had complimentary tickets, I believe, to go see U2 at the Sky Dome. And she wanted to go so desperately to see U2. And her mom and I were adamant, you can't go. It's just, you're going to have a seizure. It's dangerous. You can't go. And that was a hard pill for her to swallow. She was going to get a pair of sunglasses and like paint them pure black so that no light could get through the sunglasses. Like she wouldn't be able to see U2, but she'd be able to hear U2. And it was, to have to tell her no was tough. But just, they're known for their light show. A seizure was going to happen. And we wouldn't have been there to help her. So we had to say no, And so the year that she was supposed to see U2, she never got to see U2. And, it was a sensitive topic. You don't want to bring up U2 when she's not able to, she's grieving this loss of concerts. You don't want to start talking about U2, but there they are on TV during every single fucking hockey game. That's life, right? That's life. She was having too many seizures at work, so she was put on disability from RIM.
I had one in the bathroom.
She had one in the bathroom there. Oh, anyway, we don't need to go into all the details, but the lucky thing was that she was on disability when RIM started downsizing, and they couldn't get rid of her. So at least we were reaping the benefits. she didn't get let go from RIM until I think they let go of 5,000 employees in one day. Then the only way they could get rid of her was by closing her entire department. So that's how they did it. But she recovered from this, and she ended up getting a job at Manulife not that long later. And she loved working at Manulife. She was good at both jobs, but she loved working at Manulife too. The location was better for me to pick her up. It was closer than RIM. But same things started happening, and we developed a system. And what we do is she text messages me every half hour when she's out and about, and this way I know that she's safe. And if I don't hear from her within half an hour, I text her, and then if she doesn't get those texts, I start going a little anxious, little haywire, a little crazy, and I start sending lots of text messages, trying to get her phone to ding, trying to get her attention, and then I start phoning. And the worst times are when I start phoning and a paramedic answers the phone. That's the worst times, and that's happened. Not often, maybe 1 out of every 8 or 9 times, 10, but it happens. At least we have this system, and it helps keep me in touch with her, and it's helpful because if she says, I'm not feeling well, then I can respond to that, and I can say, I'll be there in 10 minutes, or what? Oh, she's going to get her Popeye's chicken. Yeah, so it helps us. If I can respond to that and go and help her, great. We also have some other procedures to help keep her safe. Walmart now, because she has so many damn seizures at the Walmart checkout, they let her check out at the customer service desk. Reason being that their main checkout is right next to their photo lab. So there's constantly this pop of light. And so she gets to check out at the service desk, and she hates it because she doesn't like being different from other people. She doesn't like being treated any different from other people. And sometimes somebody will say, why is she allowed to buy so many items at the customer service desk? And it's because she has a medical exemption. So fuck off. Hey, Candace. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. I was going to talk about you as well. One of the other things is that she's got 2 great friends, Candace and Tara. And they're the only 2 people that live in Kitchener that I trust with my Jen. Well, that's not true. My parents too. But, Candace and Tara, they're a good team. They keep an eye on her. And they've witnessed some pretty bad seizures before, too. There's one that Candace was there for at Fairview Mall where Jen didn't know where she was. She thought she was in Brampton. And Candace called me and said, you better come. She's very confused. So I came to the mall, and she was there in the food court with Candace and her mom. And Jen's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, Candace called me. I'm here to see you. She's like, but how did you get here so fast from Kitchener? I said, we are in Kitchener. She's like, no, we're not. We're in Brampton. So sometimes these seizures can be very disorienting. I'll get to some of the harder stuff a bit later on. I don't want to get into it right yet. She keeps a pair of sunglasses in her purse so she can cover up immediately if there's any kind of flashing light. And you'd be surprised how often there are flashing lights. Think about every service truck you've ever seen. Think about those shoes that kids wear with the light up heels. They're terrible for seizures. She's had so many seizures. Actually, the last seizure that she had at Fairview Mall back in maybe, I think May, it might have been May, whenever the malls reopened. The last seizure she had at Fairview Mall was because some kid was hopping around on those flashy light shoes. So, there's triggers everywhere. We got the sunglasses in the purse. And although it's expensive, she gets cabs and tries to get rides with other people as often as possible rather than taking public transit, because you can never control what's going on in public transit. There's been a lot of times where she's been there and some students taking pictures with a flash inside a bus. and she'll just go like that, you know, and we'll knock her right out. Oh man, kind of feel like I want another coffee, but every time I leave the stream to go get another coffee, it I fuck something up. So I don't want to get too much of a downer. I want to change the the tone for a moment. So I have some other notes here that sometimes you kind of have to laugh. We try to have a sense of humor about everything that happens to us. If you don't have a sense of humor about some of the stuff, then you'll go nuts. So we try to remember the funny things, because quite honestly, some of these things, they're objectively funny. One time, I was wearing one of my favorite t-shirts. It's an Albert Einstein t-shirt. Got a great picture of Einstein on it, and the best part of the shirt is it glows in the dark. So I was obviously in the light, but Jen had a seizure, and so I took her into the bedroom and turned the lights off so her eyes wouldn't be so sensitive to all the stimulus. And as she started coming to, she looked at my chest with this glowing Albert Einstein image on my chest, and her eyes are trying to focus, and her brain is trying to remember vocabulary. Sometimes she can't really speak. She can't remember words after a seizure. So she resorts to the simplest words to describe what's going on to her. And the Einstein shirt, she said, "Your tummy is glass on fire." And a glow-in-the-dark Einstein with unfocused eyes in the dark? Yeah, sounds about right. That's funny. Those shoes are evil. So are lights at the mall that are blinking, and they don't change them for weeks because they still work. Yeah, I know you mean those, the fluorescent lighting. Yeah. Another good one. You're outdoors. The wind is blowing. You know how the grass moves when the wind blows? She described it as, the grass is dancing. The simplicity of that. I love the beauty of that. The grass is dancing. Sometimes her focus becomes so intense that she can see things like so far away in incredible detail after a seizure. I don't know how that's even physically possible, but she can see things that I can't after a seizure. So with her hyper focus on the grass is dancing. Oh, here's one. This is a good one. Sometimes after a seizure, she kind of describes the world as looking like super three-dimensional, you know, like super three-dimensional. And I have a nose. I have a profile, as you can see. And she said to me, "Your nose is pointy and triangle-shaped." How is that not funny? Another time she described it as teardrop shaped. Keep interrupting my stream, Chris. Keep interrupting my stream. Teardrop shaped, she described it. What do you think? A teardrop, or is that a triangle? It is pointy. It is pointy. And of course, sometimes colors are very vivid after a seizure. And she said to me, "Your beard is white." Yeah, I know. And on that note, you know what? I'm just going to go and check, because it's been a while since she was saying she was going to go and get Popeyes. I'm just going to go check. Oh, is that her? No?
some fun food.
She's back with her chicken. She is back with her chicken. The mind does do crazy things. The mind does do crazy things. She is back with the chicken. Back with the chicken. Alrighty then. So, Dr. Best, we called him Dr. Worst. He could never seem to help us. He was really a pill pusher. He would try different medications. Some had bad side effects, some had not so bad side effects. But
Your cup for
oh, thank you. Do you want to say hello or no?
I'll say hello.
Oh, careful! She's tripping over my Amazon boxes. Hello, hang on. Yeah, I'll just move the camera. There she is. There's the most beautiful girl in the world, right
you're
there.
the nicest boy in the Bronx, or
in the Bronx. The nicest boy
in the bedroom. I didn't mean that gross. This is a bedroom. It's Mike's room.
She's got a little bit of stage fright, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
How's the new sandwich at Popeyes? I guess
I've never tried it.
Okay, we don't know, Chris. We don't know. We don't know how the new sandwich is, buddy.
It's not the racist, homophobic place that's coming to town.
Chick-fil-A. All right. Well, now that we have Jen back, we will get back to the story. So Dr. Worst, as we called him, he was really just a pill pusher, put her on all kinds of different meds. Some had side effects, some didn't have side effects.
One of them gave me Keppra Rage, you poor unfortunate soul.
Gave you what?
Keppra Rage. You remember I would just get nasty for no reason altogether for a little while?
I don't remember that at all. But, I mean, that's not an unusual thing. He diagnosed her with having both epileptic and the bedroom comment, Jen. She was diagnosed with both epileptic and non-epileptic seizures. This is brain activity that mimics seizures. For all intents and purposes, it is a seizure. They have the exact same effect on her, but they're harder to treat. And Dr. Best gave up.
Yeah.
Gave up. We received, or her family doctor received a letter from him saying, I cannot treat this patient. Good luck. And without a neurologist, you cannot get your medications changed. You can probably get refills because your family doctor would probably keep issuing a refill, but your family doctor cannot issue those kind of medications. Only a neurologist can. So we needed to find a new neurologist. And we needed to find a psychiatrist because these non-epileptic seizures are a whole other ball of wax. She's been through a number of psychiatrists. That's a whole other. You don't get to keep a psychiatrist.
No.
You get a psychiatrist for a meeting, 2 meetings, 3 meetings if you're lucky. And they push pills and they modify your prescription. They don't talk to you. It's not like what you see on The Sopranos where you're lying on a couch and they talk to you and they get deep into your problems and they do like dream therapy and all that shit. That's not what a psychiatrist does. They issue pills. That's all they do is they issue pills. But they're fucking hard to get.
A lot of people need those pills.
A lot of people need those pills. So here we are without a neurologist. There aren't any neurologists in KW, where we live. There are neurologists in Toronto. There are neurologists in London. So,
you're smack dab in the middle.
Smack dab in the middle we are. So, what we did, by her family doctor's suggestion, because he's completely stumped. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to.
But he was also street smart.
Very street smart. So what he did was he said, this is what you do. You go to the hospital in Mississauga where they have a neurologist. You go to the emergency room. You say, this girl is having seizures. She needs to see a neurologist. And pray. So we get to the hospital in Mississauga. We're with Jen. We got our mom with us. I think that was 2014, I want to say. I'm pretty sure
sooner, but it doesn't.
Oh, she's so beautiful, says Rosanna. Isn't that nice?
Oh, thank you, Rosanna.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Went to the hospital. Finally saw somebody. I can't remember if he was a doctor or a nurse, but he's like, what seems to be the problem? I said, well, she's been having seizures So we're here. We need to see a neurologist. And he goes, you can only come here if it's an emergency. And I said, she had a seizure in your waiting room.
Yeah.
I don't think that guy was too happy. I also said, we're following her doctor's instructions. He told us to come here. Her doctor. And that didn't, I said, you can call him if you want.
He was pretty high up the food chain at the Ontario Medical Association.
Yeah.
He was on the executive.
Yeah. And he says, oh, we don't do that. And I'm like, whatever. Anyway, here we are. Help this girl. So she saw I can't remember everything about that day. It was a long day. She eventually saw somebody. They did some stuff with her prescriptions, and they hooked us up with a new neurologist finally. He's based out of actually both London and Mississauga, named Dr.
Berkovic.
I believe it's pronounced Berkovic, but it looks like it's spelled Berkovicki. Anyway, Dr. B, we call him.
He's awesome.
We like Dr. B, although he's very busy right now, and that plays into the story presently. He's a great doctor, and he actually legitimately cares. He's trying to help. But at this point, I believe we probably have a form of epilepsy that is drug resistant. And funny enough, one of the last things that we did before COVID hit was we went to, there's an epilepsy support group in KW, by the way. If you want the information, contact me and I'll get it for you. At the support group, there was a, I don't know what you'd call them. Essentially they were sales reps, but they promote a product that's an implant that goes in your neck and it stimulates a certain nerve. And it can detect seizures happening, about to happen. And apparently in a lot of, I can't remember all the numbers, but in a large percentage of patients, it can actually stop the seizure from happening before it happens, or at least lessen the severity of it. So this is something we were kind of interested in checking out. We were going to talk to Dr. B about, but we haven't seen Dr. B because of COVID.
Our appointment, actually, we had to cancel a couple of weeks before the COVID started, and it was rescheduled because of a massive snowstorm.
Yeah, oh man, it's been so long. It's been so long. That's how long ago it was. Massive snowstorm.
And they rescheduled it, but then that had to get
COVID.
Canceled. COVID.
Anyway.
Well, I'm gonna head out.
Okay, you enjoy your chicken. Thanks for coming on, sweetie.
Try to get this out of the way.
Oh, sorry, my Amazon parcel. I just freaking threw it on the floor.
My balance isn't that good.
Anyway, as you can see, she's in a sling. And that is due to the fact that she had a bad fall on Sunday. And she had a seizure at Harvey's, I think she said it was.
Yeah.
And we don't know exactly what happened. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter. But she obviously hit the ground or hit something solid and broke her arm. And there's a minor fracture, thank God. We found that out yesterday. It's just a minor fracture, but she doesn't remember anything. She remembers coming to. There were paramedics there. And normally, when a paramedic is called to the scene of a seizure, we refuse to go to the hospital. We refuse the ambulance. And the reason being is they can't do anything. Not at KW. They can't do anything. Or Grand River, I should say, Grand River Hospital. They can't do anything. They don't have a neurologist. So we waste our evening at the hospital waiting to be discharged. Sometimes I just feel like walking out, to be honest with you, but we haven't done that. We haven't just taken the things off and just walked out, but you know, what can you do? Anyway, so she normally refuses the ambulance. This time though, this was the wrong time to refuse the ambulance. The only time that I would prefer she gets in an ambulance is when she has fallen and has physically hurt herself. Like one time I don't remember what she did to her ankle. She fucked up her ankle and she was in one of those boots. One time she hit her head and I was concerned. So anytime she has a fall where she physically hurts herself, I prefer that she goes to the hospital. But this time she didn't. She came home in a cab. Oh, thank you, Rosanna. That's so kind. She came home in a cab and she said, I'm going to go rest. And I said, good, you rest. My arm, she's like, I'm so sore. And I'm like, yeah, I think you had a fall. 2 hours later, she was in so much pain. So I asked, can you move your arm? And she couldn't move her arm. So I said, okay, we got to go to emergency right now. So I took her to emergency, and I then came home because I don't believe they really want two people in emergency at the same time right now. And also, quite frankly, I don't do well in emergency, in hospitals in general. I don't do well. So I wouldn't have done anybody any good. She had another seizure there, getting an x-ray. But anyway, we found out now that it is a minor fracture and it should be healed up in 6 weeks. She's only in a sling. There's no cast. Those kinds of seizures where she falls are the worst kinds of seizures. And that's why her mobility is limited today. That's okay, Rosanna. Don't worry. I don't speak Spanish or Portuguese or anything else very well. So I don't speak French. I don't speak anything. I speak English. I don't speak Italian. I can't speak Russian. I can't speak Mandarin, Cantonese. Sorry. This is all you get. You get the English show. I'm sorry. Don't you apologize. There's no reason for you to apologize. Sorry. What was I talking about? She's had so many falls that she's had, she's injured every part of her body at least once. She's had a concussion. That one pissed me off. I believe the concussion was caused by those fucking flashing light shoes. Oh man, I remember one time she was at the hospital. She'd already had a seizure, and some lady closed a door right into her as she was walking through it and fucking hit her right in the head. And Jen was furious, and it triggered a seizure. And I was like, thanks a lot to the lady. Anyway, it's been tough. Her mobility's limited now because of all these seizures, all these falls, and her memory's not the greatest anymore. But we keep on keeping on. She keeps on keeping on, just like Jackie Chan. You got it, man. Jackie Chan never let it stop him. So, she keeps on keeping on. And it's incredible, really. She's been through so much and just keeps on keeping on. She gets angry and frustrated sometimes. I've seen her come out of a seizure, and she's like, "What's going on?" And I tell her, "You had a seizure." And she goes, "Fuck!" She gets really mad sometimes, really mad, and sometimes that can bring on another seizure. But can you blame her? I mean, this has been 2008, 12 years. 12 years, and they've gotten a lot worse. And like I said, they seem to be resistant to medication. It sucks. It fucking sucks, man. I have all the pity in the world for her, but at the same time, she just keeps on going on, and I have all the admiration in the world for her too. A lot of people do. A lot of people tell me that. Some of the biggest problems that we run into is just people who don't understand what a seizure is, how it affects you, what can trigger them. I remember one time I was at McDonald's maybe with her, and they had these pins on the cashiers with flashing red LEDs. And I said, "Can you please turn that off? She's got epilepsy." And of course she had a seizure in the McDonald's. I'm trying to hold her upright, and we both hit the ground as I'm trying to keep her upright. And the cashiers, when I said flashing lights cause seizures, she says, "Oh, I never heard of that." It's true. A lot of people never heard of that. And, I have a lot more notes here, and I'm not going to read them because it's all negative, and I don't want to go negative at the end of the show. Not reading those. Not reading them. Don't want to go there anymore. Don't want to go there. Instead, what I'm going to do now is I have a very, very good friend from a long time ago named Aaron Liebold, and he was watching earlier. And if he's still watching, I'd like to invite him on. I hope he's watching. If you are online, you can join me now by clicking there. And Aaron's the young guy that I knew a long time ago that had epilepsy and was telling me what a seizure's like and how he would just kind of zone out. I think it affected his schoolwork, but I'm hoping that he can join us. We discussed earlier the possibility of him coming on tonight. Hey, there he is.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, buddy.
Oh,
You're in the dark.
yeah, just 1 second. There we go.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Have you been watching?
I was watching, and then I kept cutting in and out. So
Yeah. Apparently, the Facebook feed isn't working too well, so most people are watching on YouTube right now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I saw you posted that link, but I wasn't sure what it was. Or
That's the YouTube. Yeah. Well, it's good to see you.
yeah, you too. How you been?
Good. Well, I mean, relatively.
Yeah.
I don't know if what you caught and what you didn't catch, but the wife, she had a bad seizure and a fall this week and fractured her left arm.
Yeah, I read that.
That's why I'm doing this tonight, is because of that. I figure that sometimes the best live streams are the ones that pertain to what's going on right now. So, so that's why I asked if you could come on tonight, because you're the first guy I ever knew who suffered from seizures, even though I never witnessed one.
Oh, you might have and not even known it, because I had petit mal. It sounds like Jen has more like grand mal.
She has both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
So petit mal is more like you kind of just zone out and don't really know what's going on. You lose track of time pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. So I used to always just think I was daydreaming, but my teachers in school all noticed it and eventually ended up going to get tested and was positive for it. So I guess if that's the term, positive for it.
I suppose.
Diagnosed, yeah.
Diagnosis.
Yeah.
How old were you?
When I got diagnosed, I was in grade 4. Grade 6. I was at Forest Glen, so whatever that is, like 12, something like that. But I think I had it most of my life. So
I think I know you've written for me on the site before about some of this stuff, and I know you said you used to have problems. You didn't like taking your medications and whatnot.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had a seizure?
I actually when I went back to school, like to college in my late 20s, I was remembering those meds and thinking they were actually helpful. So I went back to get tested again, and they said that I didn't have it.
No kidding.
I don't know if I grew out of it, or I don't know if it was from other substances I took that changed the way that my brain interpreted because it's like they flash all these lights at you and all this stuff, and they measure how your brain responds. So I don't know. I was kind of surprised because I was kind of hoping to get those meds again because they helped me with my focus and all that stuff, right? So,
well, congratulations are in order, at least for being, I guess, negative this time.
yeah.
So congratulations are in order for sure. Like I was saying at the very start, it was because of you that I kind of suspected Jen had epilepsy. I don't know if you saw that part of the show.
Yeah, at the very beginning. Yeah.
The Nintendo Wii.
Yeah.
And what I saw happen to her was what you described to me back, when we were friends in the mid 90s, listening to hard rock, 80s metal in the car.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it really affected my schooling a lot. Like to this day, like my math skills are embarrassing. And I think a lot of that had to do with like some of those subjects, you kind of start with the basics and then you build off of them. And I missed a lot of the basics. So trying to build on it was really difficult for me. So I think that was probably one of the biggest struggles for me that came out of it. Otherwise, I mean, I was pretty used to it. Like I just kind of thought it was part of who I was and you know what I mean, the way that I was. So
yeah,
I kind of got used to it. And I didn't really notice because you kind of zone out, right? So it's like, you kind of lose track of that time. So
yeah, a lot of the time she doesn't know that anything has happened. She'll be watching Wheel of Fortune, and then all of a sudden it's Jeopardy, and she'll be like, "What happened to Pat Sajak?"
Yeah. I've seen some of your posts over time, and I mean, it would be a real challenge for her to live with that. I mean, like I remember the one time, I don't remember how long ago it was, but she was in Walmart and some kid's shoes went off with the lights in them and set her off in Walmart. Like
happens all the time still.
Yeah, I mean that would be a big challenge. I think like in retrospect, I'm pretty lucky to have had the type of epilepsy that I had, as opposed to having to deal with what she has to deal with.
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, like concerts are no longer part of our life. I was talking about how, remember when Research in Motion, the BlackBerry company, remember when they used to give free concerts to their staff and they had a private Aerosmith concert, and they did U2 and she couldn't go. And she, you know what, if it wasn't for her, me and her mom, she probably would have gone. But we're like, you can't. They have an incredible light show. Yeah. And, you know, it was tough for her to realize that I might never see another concert, and she hasn't.
Yeah, that's got to be tough for you because music is so important to you.
Right, exactly. It's something where, you know, I really only go to concerts if I got a buddy going to the same show, and I don't like going to concerts alone. It took me a while to go to movies alone.
Yeah, but I've only ever been to one concert. I went and saw Lou Reed by myself, and that was the only one I ever went to by myself.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it was a good show. It was pretty cool.
Well, one other thing I want to talk about tonight is you are a published author.
I am indeed.
And you have it's not your first book.
I have one published right now, but I have another one in the works of being published. It should be out before the end of the year. And then I've got 2 more written that I'm kind of trying to find homes for right now. So,
well, this is the time for us to plug Genocide, which is available, I believe, at Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Genocide. Give us a brief synopsis. It's it's hardcore shit, people. Okay, it's hardcore shit. I haven't been able to finish the book, but let's go. Let's talk about Genocide.
Well, it's kind of like 2 parts of it. It's a revenge story, but so the first half of the book is really like more emotional. Like it's about a character that's young and has like a really tragic sort of upbringing, and his family's involved with gang life and all that kind of stuff, and he ends up being like taken in, like basically captive by them. And then once he's old enough that they're planning on getting rid of him, he kind of goes nuts and has his revenge on them all. So there's a lot of violence in the second half, and the first half is more emotional, I would say.
Yeah, and that's where I got stuck, because that's kind of like, you know, without giving away the story, you write very vividly. You have a real way of painting the picture. I can picture the room that the characters are in, you know, and my mind creates a face for those characters just the way that you write so vividly.
I appreciate that.
Well, it's a talent. Now, if I could ever get to the second half of the book, I get to see what your take on like a slasher movie would be, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I mean, like I love horror, and I want to include elements of horror in my book, but I feel like it's so overdone. Like it's hard to come up with new ideas. You know what I mean? So like, this has definitely got that violent streak in it, but it's all like realistic, relatively realistic,
grounded in the real world, sort of.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. So, I mean, but at the time that the violence comes, it feels justified based on what the character's been through. So it kind of like the backstory is important to make the violence have a purpose.
I can vouch for that. The lead character definitely has some scores to settle.
Yeah.
And I trust. Oh, can you add a link in the chat, says Candace? I'm going to try to find the Amazon link, okay?
Yeah, just go onto Amazon and type in my full name and it'll show up. I brought the book.
There it is.
That's what the book looks like.
I was going to review it for him, but like I said, I kind of struggled to finish it. I think, you know, knowing you from back in the day, I was always the guy that wanted to rent the comedy movie at the video store, and you were always the guy that wanted to rent the horror movie at the video store.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as long as the reason that you couldn't finish it is because of the storyline and not because of the writing, then that's all good.
Correct. that is important to clarify. Yes, it is not because of his writing that I couldn't finish the book. It is because, you know, as I get older, I think I need lighter fare in my life. So, you know, I'm a comedy guy still to this day, really. But then we did find the odd movie back then that was really a combination of the comedy and the horror. Like, remember The Stuff?
Yeah.
It was like this
yogurt,
like a marshmallowy yogurt that, first of all, it takes over your brain, and then doesn't it like even like consume them? I can't remember what the details were.
Yeah,
but I do remember there was like an opening scene where this meteor lands on Earth, and this guy finds the meteor, and there's this white stuff in it, and he goes, "Well, this stuff tastes pretty good."
Did I ever watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space with you?
Yeah, we rented that one.
That one's still one of my favorite movies. And there's the farmer guy with the dog that gets eaten, and he's got that same kind of talk, that same like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah, that was good. Good stuff. Good stuff, man. But yeah, like I've always known you had that dark side when it came to, and also you've been doing artwork for years.
I'm not very good at art. I'm selectively good at art. I can do stuff that doesn't need a lot of detail. Like I can't draw very well, and I can paint better because you can do layers. You know what I mean? You can fix your mistakes and all that stuff. But
yeah, but your art has not necessarily always been two-dimensional. I remember you making quite interesting three-dimensional things using dolls and nails, and you know, you were always creating like something that, you know, in a different context, if you weren't, you know, a kid at the time, they would have said, "Man, this guy's a fucking genius. Put him in the Smithsonian Institute with that piece of work." But because it's a kid, people are like, "Holy shit, he just put a nail in a doll."
Yeah, that was what I was more like good at, was like the stuff like that, sculpturing and stuff like that. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, for sure.
But the thing with I know you remember, like I was into music for a really long time and made a CD and all that stuff. And I mean, truth be told, like that CD sucks. And the reality is I don't have the musical talent that I wished would develop. You know what I mean? And so like I felt pride in doing that, but at the same time when I listened to it, I couldn't even really convince myself that it was like really good. You know what I mean? But with writing, it's like totally different. Like it's something that I have a natural talent at, and I feel really good about the stuff that I create. Like it's like I feel pride in what I'm doing. So I'm kind of glad that I gave up on the whole music idea, because I don't think I ever would. I can't sing. I don't have the self-confidence to like yell, sing like you do. You know what I mean? I can't do it. So I don't know. But what
was the first track? 15 Minutes to Midnight, I think it was, or something like that.
Yeah, 15 Minutes to Midnight.
Yeah. We used to play that, and we used to play Lemmings in the store at closing time.
Yeah.
And I remember I put a sticker on your CD. I'm like desperate to try to help you sell a copy. I put local industrial prodigy or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, and you've got hello from Brazil. I'm sure you can get his book delivered to Brazil if you wanted it.
I think so. I think it's on all the Amazons. So whatever Amazon, which country would use, you can go with the States Amazon, or I don't know. I know UK and India both have one. I don't know.
It looks like it's on the Kindle, so.
Oh, you just have to switch that to paperback.
Oh, okay, but you could read it on your Kindle if you felt like it. There you go.
Actually, I've got another book that I'm a part of. It's just a collaboration book. It's called Invoking Chaos, and it's free right now on Kindle. It's just a short story of mine that's in there, and there's a few other authors that are in there that I respect a lot. So I haven't actually read all the stories yet because my Kindle, I can't figure out how to make it work. But he's going to put it out on paperback at some point, so I'll probably buy it then. But that one's free right now if you want to check that one out.
Sorry, what's the title again?
It's called Invoking Chaos.
Invoking Chaos. So that one then is about candy and jelly beans.
Yeah. Well, like I don't really write a lot about supernatural stuff or anything like that, but the guy that spearheaded this, his name's Daniel, and he kind of put out a challenge to all of us saying like, hey, I want you guys to all write a book about invocation and whatever you want to do with it. So I was like, all right, cool. So took up the challenge and wrote a cool little story that made the cut. So it's pretty cool.
Right on. So check that out. Look up Aaron Leibold on Amazon. That's how you find it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh, another thing that you were good at that I remember very well is you made some cool videos. And I remember there was one where there was like a guy rolling off a roof. And, you know, I thought to myself that, if we had access to a camera, which was like stupidly expensive back then, we could have made some pretty cool videos. And of course, now anybody can do it, but it was something nobody got to do back then. It's amazing to think of it that way. Nobody got to make a video back then.
I kind of wonder what kind of stuff we would have been able to make if we had grown up in this generation. You know what I mean? Like with some of these like digital things and like using the imagination that we had to like come up with something cool. But yeah, that one, the one that you're talking about was the Groundhog Day one. The spring that never came. That's what it was. And that was like no special effects or anything. I mean, when my friend was supposed to roll off the roof, it was the big teddy bear that took his place.
That's right. It was the most brilliant jump cut that I've ever seen. It was like so obvious that it's now a teddy bear, but it was like I laughed out loud. My buddy Rob has a comment. It's interesting. A lot of the people he knows who have had or have epilepsy have turned to writing. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. Yeah.
That is cool. Rob is also a film. Well, he has been a filmmaker. I have one of Rob's. I guess it was a student film. I think I showed it to you, Aaron, back in the day. Do you remember a Don't Drink and Drive film where my buddy gets hit by a car?
I think I do. Yeah.
That's Rob. Rob made that film.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was his work.
Was he
guy gets hit by a car, and of course, there's no blood or anything, but he's like on the ground.
Yeah, I do remember that. I also remember the one that you made with that big noodle in front of the courthouse. Yeah.
Funny enough, I dug that up and re-edited it and put it on YouTube because it was unwatchable it was a full hour and it was unwatchable.
Oh, yeah.
I managed to cut it down to half an hour and it's now watchable.
Oh, nice.
It's funny because you're driving downtown, it's like Dr. Disc and all these stores that do not exist anymore.
Yeah, makes me feel old.
Man, we used to, on Saturdays, we used to hit like, was it Sunrise at Conestoga Mall? I think so. There was a Sunrise at Conestoga Mall. There was a Sam's at Conestoga Mall for a while.
Yeah.
We used to hit up Encore downtown. We used to hit up my store.
Yeah, and there was that bookstore, Second Look, that had all those VHS tapes and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Love going there.
Yeah. For sure. In the pawn shops.
Yeah, we'd always hit the pawn shops.
Yeah. The best time was that one time a lady left like a box of like 150 CDs at my store, and they were all junk, but we ended up getting enough money at the pawn shop for me to buy a Super Nintendo and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, there was a few bands I actually got into from that exact kind of thing. People that just left them there. You gave me my first copy of Independent Worm Saloon by the Butthole Surfers.
You loved the irritating song or the annoying song.
Yeah, the annoying song. Yeah, I love that whole album still, and like I still like the Surfers a lot. I bought a bunch of their CDs, but I can't really connect with all of them. But like I love that one and Electric Larryland, and there's a bunch that I really like of theirs. But that was the one that got it going for me. Was that free copy of Independent Worm Saloon?
Duff McKagan's solo album was a cornerstone.
Yeah.
Soundgarden Super Unknown was one that was constantly in the deck. Trying to think of some others. Those are the ones we agreed on. I would also make you listen to my hard rock because I still, to this day, I have a rule that the driver picks the music.
Well, you got me into Guns N' Roses.
No, you were into them before me.
Was I?
Yeah, you had Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 already. You were already into Slash. You were like starting to grow your hair out to try to look more like Slash.
Yeah. I remember you showed me Skid Row, and I liked some of their stuff. And maybe Alice Cooper. Yeah,
actually, Alice Cooper for sure. The Hey Stupid album, you really liked a couple of the tunes on that, like Snakebite.
Yeah, Love's a Loaded Gun or whatever, that song. I really like that. Yeah,
that's the yeah. You dug that album for sure, and I think the fact that he was on the Garden by Guns N' Roses kind of helped you transition to the Alice Cooper side of things. Yeah, you're already familiar with him, kind of like. Blind Melon, it was easy to get into Shannon Hoon because he was already in the Don't Cry video. So I was like, it's that guy from the Don't Cry video.
I don't think I pieced that together till after I was a Blind Melon fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love Blind Melon, yeah. But Alice Cooper was also in Friday the 13th, the man behind the mask.
Oh, and Wayne's World, of course.
Yeah, Wayne's World, yeah.
Yeah.
The Prince of Darkness album I actually really like, too.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I can't remember why you picked that, but was it Columbia House? Maybe, I don't remember, but I do remember you dug that album, and I thought that was kind of interesting because that is very much like an '80s hard rock sound on that album. Yeah. I remember one time we were watching Iron Maiden live, and he said to me, "Do all of their songs sound like this?" They were so different from the kind of stuff that you were used to.
There was something cool with Iron Maiden you showed me. I think it was like a farewell thing.
That was the one.
It had like
it was the combo horror magician with the concert.
Yeah.
And at the end, they beheaded Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
It was kind of shitty.
I remember it as being pretty good, but there's a lot of stuff like that you remember as being good when you were younger, and you watch it later and it sucks. But some stuff holds up.
Yeah, and like that. You look at some of the stuff from the '90s, and it's like, this is shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example. Stone Temple Pilots' Core, great album, right?
Yeah.
But I was looking at the album cover, and it's like this blurry picture of a chick holding something with a tree behind her, and the logo is kind of like off kilter, and I'm like, that is so '90s.
Yeah.
Like, it's so random. Like, there's a chick holding a thing with a tree and an off kilter logo. So randomly '90s.
One thing I've noticed is a lot of the music videos that I remember thinking were like really in depth and really cool, and now I watch them, I'm kind of like, some of them are a little cheesy. Some of them hold up, but some of them are like hard to watch. I think I'll just keep the song on and minimize YouTube. But yeah, I do remember too. Always wanting the Beavis and Butthead Experience CD. I don't know if you remember that. And it was you. I was in there once when you were working, and some lady brought it in, and I was like, "Don't buy that! I want to buy it," because I talked to her.
I was so mad.
Tell her no, and I'll offer her $4 for it, and let her give it to me. And she gave me the death stare, and you gave me the death stare, and I was so embarrassed.
Yeah, I don't think my boss liked it when you hung out in the store too much, but
yeah.
Hey, I love you. I remember one time though, you were helping the customers. Yeah. Somebody was like, "Oh, can you show me where this is?" And I was busy, and you're like, "I'll show you." I'm like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah,
it's all good, man.
Yeah, that was the small store. I remember when you first got that job. It was
the best store. The best store, man. I had so many good times at that store. And that was the same store. What was his name? Like Italiano or something like that?
Herculano?
Herculano! You were there that day when Herculano came in.
I think I was once, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he brought in stuff that was still in the package. And I was like, can't you sell that as new? And you looked at me like, shut up.
And I remember Herculano's girlfriend came in one time, and she had bruises all over her. And I was like, holy shit.
It's kind of sad, though, thinking about that stuff. Like, I remember when you would get, like, some rare Nirvana stuff in, you would call me right away or put it on hold for me. And it would be, like, $30 or $40, which was super expensive at the time.
Hormoning. That was hormoning.
I still have that copy.
And there was the Outcesticide too.
Yeah, that stuff. And now it's like you just go on YouTube, and like anything rare that I had that was like super collectible Nirvana stuff, like it's all there on YouTube. Like, I mean, a lot of it's been put out since in box sets.
Right, exactly. The Nirvana stuff has been Nirvana. I just said Nirvana. Yeah. The Nirvana stuff has been reissued, and most of it is available. And with Discogs now, you can buy any single you're missing. You can get it.
Yeah,
I have to pay what I call the late tax on it, but you can get it. I don't know if you saw the Alice Cooper single I was showing off earlier today.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay the late tax on that one.
It just came out?
Yeah. Just came out, yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried I wasn't going to get it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's 8:15, and if you don't mind, I want to invite a couple other people. My buddy Kevin is going to do an unboxing himself. You can certainly hang around. Or if you got other better things to do, then by all means, you can go your own way. But if you don't mind, I'm going to invite Kevin and some other folks onto the show.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, you can, like I said, you can certainly stay if you like.
Yep.
Hang on a second. I'm just trying to find. There we go. Okay. And one more. Okay, there we go. Sorry, are you hanging around?
I can if you want me to.
Dude, it's up to you. It's Friday night, and I don't think any of us have anything better to do.
Oh, my wife's kind of waiting for me to go sit with her, but
Okay. Well, in that case, you do have something better to do. Well, thank you. Chris Sarr wants to know, what was the small store? Chris Sarr, that was the Stanley Park Mall store, and it was awesome. I mean, it wasn't awesome that, wow, we had the best stock in the world, but it was the best times in the world, for
it
sure.
was a little closet of a store. And didn't your boss just start it out by taking his personal CD collection and throwing it on the shelves?
10 or 12 CDs from his personal collection. I think he stole some from his brother's personal collection, put them on the counter, and sold them. Yeah. And yeah, that snowballed from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. It was pretty cool.
It was. Yeah. All right, everybody, check out Aaron Liebold's book, Genocide. I posted the link in the comments if you want to do that. You can do it on Kindle, or you can get an actual paperback. Imagine that. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, and thanks to your wife for letting us borrow you for a few minutes.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Take care, buddy.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, look at that. It's perfect time.
I did that on purpose.
Well, that was good.
I swear.
Time. How are you?
I'm doing good. I really feel bad because I screwed up the well, I read the personal chat, and you said that you wanted people to come on to talk about AC/DC and Iron Maiden, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then when I promoted, I said, hey, well, it would be kind of cool if I promote that. I'm gonna open these on Mike's show. And then you were like, "Whoa, you want to come on like after?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute." And so then when I went back and read the chat, I'm like, "He was promoting for next week,
right?
Next week, not this week." So I feel like I crashed the show here, and
not at all. I was planning on. I've sent an invite to Aaron as well. If he's available, he'll be coming on too. Although you never know with that man of mystery,
right?
But no, I just wanted to open it up to a general chat after I was done the heavy stuff, which actually I chopped off the last quarter of the heavy stuff anyway. So
yeah, I can understand, but you're doing a good thing because I'm sitting here and I'm learning too. Like
purple.
I did that intentionally as well.
Oh, hey, no, Jen, Kevin Simister's wearing purple intentionally tonight. There you go.
Yeah, when I put this on at 8 o'clock in the morning. No, that's another thing I learned. Like what purple, I had no idea that had anything to do with. And then the kids wearing the shoes, I never would have thought of that. And then the lights on the trucks and that. It's like, yeah, we really do you really need those lights flashing like that on all these emergency vehicles and that? We probably don't. We've done fine without that for decades. What
one bugged me the most was the cart control thing at Fairview Park Mall. They got a little motorized thing where they can push the carts. It's got a spinning. She had a seizure in the parking lot of the Walmart.
Yeah.
And I said to the guy, "You got to turn off your light. You got to turn off your light." And he's like, "I can't." And I said, "Well, then put your coat on it."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Huh?" And I said, "Well, if you're not going to do anything with that, help me hold her up."
Yeah. And these are unnecessary things. We don't really need that stuff. I mean, I get it. It's, it helps a little bit, to make you aware of things and to wake people up like, hey, there's a slow moving vehicle or something. But, you can see it on the school buses and that. But why would you need it on those big trucks and that? It just seems totally unnecessary. And those things, those type of lights that they use, they switch to all that stuff because it's cheaper, right? It's cheaper than actually those old cherry dome ones with the motor in it and everything like that. So,
and
I'm learning.
She likes to tell it that she hasn't rubbernecked an accident in years.
Oh, I never do. I hate it when other people do it, and I always I don't need to see what's going on. I'm concentrating on the road. So
right, but you always catch the accident out of your corner of your eye as you're maneuvering around it.
Sure,
it's always aimed. One time we were pulled over on the way to the cottage for a ride check, which is very common on that stretch of road.
Yeah.
And so she's in the passenger side going like this.
Oh, jeez.
And, I'm getting pulled over. There's a cop. Why is this girl? So I said, you'll have to excuse my wife. She has epilepsy and your lights might set her off. And so the cop leans his head in. He goes, "Hey, sweetie, can you show me your eyes real quick?" And I was just like,
oh, come on.
Anyway, so she did. And she's like, "Ah." And he's like, okay. Anyway, it was clear that we weren't impaired. So he let us go our way. But it's like, it's these things that you got to be prepared for in life. And
well, and we're all just ignorant, I wouldn't have known any of this stuff before or even thought of it, until you did this. So you're doing a good thing, man.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Getting the word out there.
It helps after a shit week like the one we've had.
Yeah, it didn't sound good.
I don't know who this gentleman is. James Murray from Impractical Jokers. You look like him.
Oh, I've heard of that show. I have a friend that watches it and says it's a good show, but he's never said I look like anyone on it.
Yeah,
I imagine he's a very good-looking man, and he's probably on like the top 10 list with Brad Pitt 100%. And Tom Cruise, whomever.
You do look like Tom Cruise, honestly.
I do. Well, young Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah. Not. I assume you're taller than him, but we've never seen that. You don't have to see that,
Right.
I'm just assuming. So one of the things that I was hoping we could talk about when you came on was your experience with Amazon.
Oh, yeah, I left the record upstairs. I still have
it. All right. I can. You know what? If you tell the story, I will go to your tweet and find the picture.
Okay, sure. Well, actually, like a couple of months ago, I ordered something from Amazon, and it showed it was a record. It was a Judas Priest record. I can't remember if I talked about it on here or not, but it showed up like without a box, without anything.
Oh.
And it was just they just put a label on it. And apparently on Amazon, you have to check and make sure, because some things they will say like, "Hey, we're delivering this in a package where everyone can see what it is that we're delivering." And basically, what they're saying is, we're going to deliver this without a box. And I'm not sure if it's Amazon itself or one of these companies that fulfill orders for Amazon or whatever it is, but I could not believe that I got a record just with it in the record sleeve shipped, and it was just like left on my stoop. And I would have been okay. I wouldn't have been too happy with it, but I would have been fine with it if it showed up in pristine condition, but it didn't. And I feel like if you're buying a brand new record and they're gonna not knock any money off of it, well, then you deserve like a brand new record. So this week a record showed up, an LP, an Anthrax one that I bought. This one was in a box, which it usually comes in, a box like you had for the Alice Cooper one. And this one,
huge.
Yeah, and this one it was a regular size record, so it fits the record nice. It's what they usually come in that record, and it actually had an extra layer of protection of it was like a plastic bag over top of it that was all taped up and everything. I'm like, wow, they really shipped this properly. So I get it, and I open it up and I look at the cover, and everything looked great and fine. And then I moved over to the spine, and the spine was just shredded to bits. And
that's my cue to go to your Instagram. One moment, share screen. There we go. Can you see that, folks? Look at that. What in the hell? You can see that it's Anthrax worship music and this gash. Oh.
So apparently that happens, can happen when a record is shipped with the LP inside of the sleeve. So a lot of, like if you order from Bandcamp or something like that, a lot of times, because it's bands that are shipping the stuff out, they will ship it with the record outside of the sleeve. True. So that will not happen. And there are some records that you buy, like you might buy like a gatefold record, and the record will be inside the gatefold. And that's the reason why they do that, because they don't want to ship it out and have that split. So that record is a gatefold record, but it's only one LP, right? So basically what happened was, in the shipping or whatever, it got smushed and moved around, and that cracked the spine. So that's probably going to be the last record I ever order from Amazon, because my track record has been okay, but like the last couple have been pretty crappy. And with this one, I didn't like with the Judas Priest one, I had sent it back a couple of times, and I had gotten back a warped record and another one with like a crease in the cover. And I'm like, no, I want it perfect. And then they finally said, well, we're out of this record. We don't have any more of it. So I'm like, okay, forget it. Just give me my money back. And for this one, I just said, give me my money back. I don't want to do business with you anymore, Amazon. So I'll try my luck with CDs with them and see if that's better. But
you get cracked cases, but I guess you can live with that.
A cracked case I could fix. I have a bunch of let's say backup copies of records that CDs that I had made throughout the years that I'm trying to get rid of. So I have tons of cases.
The donor cases.
Yeah, I have tons of those. So, but yeah, like an LP like that, like you can't fix that. So
no. I'm fortunate that this thing arrived in good shape. But Amazon, I was worried because, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I'd ordered one from Chris over at Encore, and I ordered one from Amazon by mistake. Chris at Encore contacted me and said, do you still want this? Because it's coming in, but I got lots of customers that are looking for it. And I said, let them have it. No problem.
Right.
I got one coming on Amazon. Then I got an email from Amazon that said, we're having trouble acquiring this item. So I am very, very relieved that I'm not paying the late tax.
Yeah.
We have Harrison Kopp that says that you look like that Kevin. That is strange.
Yeah. Well, that's just another good looking guy. So
yeah. And yeah, this is true. Hasbro are doing this as well with their action figures. Ships in its own container. I have a number of those actually myself, and I'm not too thrilled about it. And suddenly the chat room smells of cabbage because, of course, Harrison smells of cabbage, as we've established that as fact.
I will say Amazon normally sends stuff like it's like I've ordered probably 24 records from them, and these are the only 2 that have been really bad where I felt I had to send it back, and their return policy is good. But I'm just kind of tired of this business with them, like the last, like it was just 2 in a row, and I'm just like, okay, I'm done with this for right now.
I forgot to send an invite to Rob Daniels if he wants to join us, but hey Rob, you can join us if you like.
And I actually did have to return the Ozzy Osbourne one from this year, which you are kind of right on. I haven't listened to that or thought about that record all year, even though I do like it. But yeah, I did have to send that one back a few times. And that was apparently like a bunch of people had problems with that. It was like a manufacturing thing where they came out with
The Ordinary Man?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as you know, I went Japanese CD on that. So
yeah, of course.
No issues there. I'm so relieved to finally be getting my CD Japan orders. I have 2 more parcels incoming from CD Japan. Soon, I hope, very, very soon, I got the new Harem Scarum and an album by a group called the Hollywood Monsters, which features a guitar player named Steph Hond, who lives in France, and I'm going to be having on the show in the coming weeks.
Oh, you're even comfortable enough to announce that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I spoke to him earlier this week, and he would be coming on a Saturday. That's when he's available. But I'm looking forward to having Steph come on. We're going to be talking about the Hollywood Monsters. He's got another group called Now or Never that just released a brand new album. He plays with Jim Crean, Vinny Appice. He's played with Paul Di'Anno. So I'm looking forward to having him on. I believe Deke will be co-hosting that show. Oh, Harrison, what is this? Okay, I get you. Yeah, cardboard boxes is what they ship the toys in. They don't ship them in those clear plastic window boxes.
Okay.
Excuse me. But speaking of boxes and unboxing, do you want to do your...
Yeah, I might as well get to that. And speaking of CDs, so I did buy some CDs on eBay, and I'm kind of leery. Like the prices were too good, and the shipping were too good. So I'm kind of wondering. Like, I checked their feedback and all that stuff, and everything seemed good. Like they ship out a lot of stuff, but like I'm like, this is too good to be true. I'm wondering if these are burnt copies. So they shipped it in just regular mail, no tracking on this stuff. So I thought it was okay to take a risk on it, because if it is screwed up, I can just go to eBay and say, hey, the thing never arrived. So anyone from eBay, don't watch this.
Right. Nobody heard that.
I don't care. Whatever. It wasn't that much money. So
I'm sure Harrison Kopp is going to report you to eBay.
I'm just kidding. I would never do that. That's Buried on Mars. The character that said that, Kevin Simister, would never
say that. No.
But crazy. It just shipped like in regular mail, and it's a good size package. But it only cost them $2 to ship it. But I'm very leery of doing that. I always ship with tracking, and I've had people ask me to ship stuff, and like I don't mind waiting and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, but if I send it out, all you got to do is say you didn't get it, and I'm out the money and the product. So, okay, yeah. So here we go. So these are. So if this stuff is good, I'm going to order from this guy again. This guy was out of Vancouver.
Hey,
and
Rob.
Hey, Rob.
You're just in time for Kevin's unboxing from eBay.
I'm unboxing stuff.
I will let you unbox your stuff.
Oh, thanks, sweetie.
So this looks legit so far. If I can get it out of the packaging here. So I got, yeah. This is Anthrax Chili on Hell.
Ooh.
This is a DVD and CD combo. So this came out a few years ago.
Do the close-up thing on you. There we go.
So this came out, yeah, a few years ago. And yeah, again, like you were saying, pay the late tax. And I thought I would have to pay the late tax on this, but this guy had it for a good price.
I think this hat's on backwards. Yeah, it is. There we go. That's better.
I don't know.
Quite all right.
So, and then next I got from the same guy. And this looks legit too. So I'm probably going to order from this guy again because he had some other stuff that was good price. Here's Anthrax for All Kings. So this is the album before the last one.
Yeah.
And it's got a bonus. It's the one with the bonus disc on it.
Jealous.
So there's, yeah. So it wasn't that pricey. If you want me to see, I think he had more copies there.
That's cool.
That was it. That's what I got on eBay.
Nice. So that was not a bust.
No, I'm relieved because I actually have like in my cart like more stuff to order from him.
Cool.
And I'm like, well, I want to wait till these come in and make sure that they're okay. But this looks all legit.
Wow, somebody's really excited that Rob's here. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see you around tonight.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's I've just kind of finished my show prep and was going to see about maybe taking a quick nap. But I heard you as I was off to feed the cat that I had sent an invite to Rob Daniels. So I thought, okay, as soon as I get back, I will see what I can get on.
Well, if you want to have a nap, you go right ahead. Don't let me keep you from your nap.
I'm good, actually. You know, I know you usually don't stay on for too long.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to pop in and tell you what's on the show tonight and kind of let you and say thank you to that guy who was really excited that I was on. I'm okay.
Jane's Affliction. He loves you.
But and by the way, Kevin, that's probably the only Anthrax you can get in the mail that you won't get charged.
This is true. Yes.
This guy.
Very good.
But just for to let you know, tonight's show is I Married a Monster from Outer Space. And it is got some very unusual soundtracks. My Stepmother is an Alien. The Kim Basinger film from like the 80s. What was some of the other ones? Bride of Frankenstein, Corpse Bride, Bride of Chucky.
Okay.
And there is actually a film called I Married a Monster from Outer Space. And so I'm going to be featuring that score on the show tonight as well. So,
and this is all part of your Halloween extravaganza for October.
It's Halloween Horror Month here on Visions in Sound. And I'll tell you, man, it is Halloween. Halloween is my Christmas. And oh, Chris, behave. But yeah, no, it's I love. Well, first of all, my big thing for Halloween is watching John Carpenter's The Thing. I've watched it every Halloween.
Great movie.
1993, and the last couple of years, it used to be. And it showed up at the Apollo in town here. So I was able to see it on the big screen. And that's a different experience seeing it on the big screen, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, so Halloween, I just love Halloween. Got some great shows coming up this month. The 35th anniversary of Life Force. It's space vampires, essentially.
Oh.
It was a Tobe Hooper film that was 1985.
Wow.
And it was you'd know it to see it. One of the main characters, female characters, is nude through probably the entire thing.
Mm.
So for a 15-year-old boy seeing that on pay TV late at night, well, hey, what can I say? I know a lot of people who talk about that film. That was kind of the thing that they most got from it. That and Steve Railsback's performance as kind of this unhinged kind of character. He plays those really well. He was Dwayne Barry in the X-Files. If you don't know who Steve Railsback was or is.
I don't remember that. I never watched a lot of X-Files.
Well, he was in a kind of a major plot arc where Scully disappears, and he's the catalyst that essentially gets Scully abducted apparently. So that's where I kind of but I knew him actually in Life Force as well. Patrick Stewart's in Life Force.
No kidding.
Oh, nice.
First time I'd ever seen Patrick Stewart other than in Dune.
Patrick Stewart, he's the guy from the DoorDash ad with Mark Hamill, right?
Those are actually pretty funny. I watched those.
Yeah, they are.
And was it Stewart that says that he wants to work with Hamill on a Star Wars project or have a crossover of some type? That would be just weird.
I can't remember, but whatever. I like those two guys.
Yeah, they have really done well with the fame that's come from their characters. Yeah. And Hamill has done it's funny. Hamill has done some great voice work. I mean, his Joker is probably one of the best.
He's the best Joker.
Exactly. And but he's also done some other stuff as well. He was Chucky in the most recent Child's Play movie.
Didn't know that.
And so he's the guy is talented. He beyond Corvette Summer and Star Wars.
You're forgetting the Guyver. You're forgetting Slipstream. You're forgetting the other shitty one that I rented.
He was actually the main character in the video game Wing Commanders 3.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's done well for himself, considering that. I mean, actually, pretty much the only person that I think that really didn't do well after Star Wars was Carrie Fisher.
Unfortunately, well, she did. Was she in The Burbs?
Yes,
Okay.
She was in The Burbs, and she was in When Harry Met Sally, and
Right.
She was great in that. She had some good roles, but personal life was.
But Harrison Ford's career took off after that.
Yeah.
Of course, probably Indiana Jones didn't hurt either. It's great. I love this time of year.
I know you do.
That movie, My Stepmother's an Alien, that's the Dan Aykroyd one?
That's the Dan Aykroyd
Okay.
passenger film from like 1988 or something like that. I haven't seen it recently, but I do remember it being kind of a goofy comedy kind of film. And of course, the Alan Silvestri score always helps.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Funny thing about that is that Dan Aykroyd is one of the few Hollywood celebrities that is a massive believer in UFOs. He's done a couple documentaries.
Well, did he not produce a lot of those UFO TV? There was a Spy Factor, was it?
Sounds about right.
He produced a kind of X-Files, Canadian X-Files.
Low budget.
Mm-hmm.
Low budget, exactly. Shot in probably Toronto. Spy Factor or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think so.
And but yeah, he's apparently, I was watching, what was it, the films that made us, and he was talking about Ghostbusters, and I think one of his family members wrote the quintessential book on the ghosts and apparitions and that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, it was either his dad or his brother.
Yeah.
Peter Aykroyd, I think his name is.
Sounds right.
But yeah, so yeah, these are this time of year is like I said, my Christmas, and I love to celebrate it all month long. And so yeah, it's.
Well, we will do something fun. Plans are in motion.
Yes.
We will do something fun.
Yeah.
Where can I? Because I missed it. Where can I see this rant that I've been hearing so much about? Is there like a link or something? I need to see this thing.
Here's what I will do. I will find it.
Oh, I thought you were going to recreate it for me.
No, we don't want that. We would need an old lady coughing and hacking without a mask on in order to recreate it.
Oh my goodness.
Give me 1 second here. I will try and put the link up.
It started with the old lady with no mask coughing and hacking in the lobby, and
yeah, it kind of went from there.
Rob gave us his opinion on masks, and I support his opinion 110%. So I have no issues with the rant. I fully enjoyed the rant. Chris Sarr very much enjoyed the rant.
Well, I want to enjoy the rant, so because I did look for it, but I couldn't.
This guy here normally on his show doesn't do much swearing.
Okay.
Usually,
normally,
I don't, and you know, generally, it's for me, it's not something that I'm.
And this was another thing. I think the debate was just on the night before, and so politics was off topic that night. We were not talking anything to do with the debate that night.
I think I'm in Camp Rob anyway, so I think I am safe. If I bring up Trump, I think we'll be on the same side.
Yeah.
I wonder how he's doing, by the way. I heard he was being airlifted to a hospital last.
At the start of the show, the chopper was in the air.
Okay.
Hey, I can run to the next room. Jen's got the CNN on right now. I can go check.
Not that I give a shit, but is it really that serious?
Could be.
Yeah, apparently. Like
they've got him on steroids, Rob.
Yeah, apparently he got. Last I heard from Sarah was that he got really scared this afternoon, and so then they started like, okay, we're going to give you a bunch of antibiotics, then we're going to send you to the hospital and all that. So all the stuff's happening, like it's coming out like every 20 minutes or something. Something else is coming out. So,
but I don't want to talk about Trump tonight. Like, obviously, I don't wish anybody to get sick. I don't want anybody to die. That is my perspective.
No.
And I don't. But Kevin, I believe you still had one more package to unbox.
Nope, that was it.
Oh, that was it. Okay. So we are done with the unboxings, and Rob, we can watch you, or you put it on the Vision Sound Facebook page, I believe, right?
I just put up the link on YouTube. So if Kevin, if you want to check it out,
we got a private chat here. Can you put it in the private chat because I'm lazy?
I can send it to you as well.
Keep giving Rob more work.
Yeah,
work for this.
To rest and do his.
I know he wants to nap. He fed the cats. All he wanted to do was nap. Now he's searching for links.
It's funny. I've had 2 cats on the show tonight because Aaron had a cat on with him. I didn't ask for him to introduce the cat, which was negligent of me. That's my fault. I should have asked him to introduce the cat. But everybody knows Rob's cat, Gimli. Gimli's famous.
This is Kevin Simster.
Sinister, yeah.
You gotta pronounce it right. That's the thing.
Look, I'm okay with it. It's Sarah. She gets very.
Yeah, but I want to be on her good side too.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It was a good rant. I'll tell you that. It was a good rant.
A
healthy rant. It got a lot of venom out of the system, I think.
Now
Excellent.
Something else I'm trying and we'll be testing out tomorrow actually with a couple of friends. I'm thinking about doing Skype movie nights. And what I'm gonna do is I'll invite a bunch of friends on Skype, and I just found out that you can share videos in that on. I know you can do that on more than a couple of platforms, but Skype seems to be the one that is what was agreed upon. We're going to be trying Bride of Frankenstein tomorrow, but after that, we're going to try and open it up to people who want to watch movies with a group of people and still be able to be well separated but together at the same time. And I think it's, we can stop the movie, we can talk a little bit about it. I chose Bride of Frankenstein because it's one of the scores that I'm featuring tonight, and it's also only an hour and 15 minutes long, so it's not going to take up too much of people's days. But we were, my friend Susan and I, we were discussing movies like Blade Runner and a bunch of other ones, just to kind of sit and talk about, because she had not seen Blade Runner until just recently, so she wanted to talk about it with me while watching the movie at the same time. I suggested watching the theatrical cut as well, and with the narration and,
right,
and that sort of thing. So that and the happy ending, so that'll fill in some gaps.
So are you broadcasting the movie, or is everyone queuing it up?
It will basically be showing it through Skype, so everybody within the group, the group chat,
I see
it, but
okay.
it's not necessarily broadcasting it like I do on Wednesday nights with my public domain theater shorts and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Whereas this is a closed session. I'm not broadcasting. I'm just it's like it would be like I invited you over to watch the movie, but
Right.
it means that it's on Skype as opposed to you coming to my home.
Right. I'm not the copyright police. I was just wondering how it works.
I've run into a lot of copyright stuff lately.
Me too.
Where the weird part is, like 10 or 15 seconds of the song or whatever that I've done is muted, but the rest seems to be fine. And it's weird. I'll get this notification from Facebook. You've been playing music that may belong to someone else, and I'll click on it. It's like from this time to this time.
Yeah, it is weird. Like you use a little bit of music and your entire video is gone. And meanwhile, people have full episodes of Sanford and Son. Like the entire series is up on YouTube that some random dude just put up there. And that's fine. I don't get it.
I don't get it. Like I've had a lot of my Much Music videos completely censored. Yet other people post complete music videos. So I don't get it. I would love to be able to post. I found a real treasure on my VHS tapes. I found the complete final episode of the Pepsi Power Hour.
Oh,
I would love to upload the whole thing in its completion, but in reality, I'm going to have to cut out all the music videos to do it. And it's kind of a bummer, but eventually this winter I'll get the final episode up. It's just a bummer though. Like I posted a Much Music, like an hour-long Motley Crue special, but I had to chop up so much of it, and I had to mute interviews because there's music playing in the background. It's really annoying. YouTube's a shit.
Yeah, YouTube's bad.
That could be the last parcel delivery that we're waiting on. I'm not sure. Pardon me.
okay, no worries.
Facebook's bad, but YouTube apparently I've heard is much worse. I haven't I've actually kind of stayed away from YouTube because
nope, not a parcel delivery.
Strike and you're out kind of thing. So
yeah, it all depends. Like really with YouTube, I've had my issues with copyright and that on YouTube, and what it comes down to really is so it gets flagged, and then the person who owns the copyright really makes a decision on what they want to do with it. They can pull down your video completely. They can mute your video. They can mute it in certain sections. Or they could say, okay, this is fine, but we're going to run commercials on it and we're going to get the profit. So I think that's how like those Sanford and Son things get passed. Like whoever owns the copyright for Sanford and Son says, okay, fine, we'll leave them up there, but you're going to run commercials on them and we're going to get the money for the commercials. So it's almost like as if some random dude did the work for them, but you don't know what is going to happen until after you upload it.
Correct.
But I've heard of people being demonetized.
So if you're demonetized is basically you put the thing up and you want to make money off of it, and they'll say no, someone else owns the rights to that, they get the money for it, you don't get it. So really it's the people who earn a living off of YouTube, that's who that hurts, right? If you're just like, I just want to share this thing, I don't care who gets the money for it, then you can do that. But you don't know what they're going to do, what the copyright holder is going to do. If they're going to just, I want to run ads on it, or if they're going to tell you to pull down your video. They pretty much have the say. And it's all it's all computer driven, this thing, right? It's like these companies put the stuff into the system, and then the system just automatically says, okay, no, we're taking this down or whatever. And to get an actual human being to look at the video and make a decision on whether or not it's copyright or not, or infringes on anything, that's a huge long process. Like I used to put movie reviews up on YouTube, and it would be just a little clip that I would use from the movie to show something, and the entire thing would be taken down. And I'd have to say, no, this is a review. This is for review purposes. This is falls under fair use. It's fine. And then YouTube, it would go to YouTube, and then it would take like YouTube a week, and then they'd come back and say, are you sure that this falls under fair use? Because if it doesn't, we're going to have someone check it. And if they find that it doesn't fall under fair use, then that's going to count as a strike against your channel. So basically, if you get 3 strikes, if you get 3 of those, then they can pull down your channel. But you have to fight it every single time and lose a case every single time. So then finally somebody looks at it and makes a decision on whether, and it's always passed because it does fall under fair use, but it's just a pain in the ass process that kills any sort of desire to want to make videos for YouTube.
Exactly.
I'm guessing that something like Cinema Sins must count as a review.
See, a channel like Cinema Sins is so huge that they get an exemption right off the bat, because that is, I mean, that's like YouTube's, number one moneymaker, number one partner or whatever. So they get an exception because YouTube just kind of like figures, okay, these guys know what they're doing. They're making a ton of money for us. They're not going to fall under. So they don't have to deal with that process every single time.
So if I wanted to do Mike Sins, then I get fucked.
Until you get like
50,000
subscribers and you're making tons of money for them, and then they'll make you a partner. And
that's going to happen.
I mean, I saw your channel. You posted some. You've got like 100 subscribers over the last little while, or well over 100. So you're doing okay.
I can't. I keep getting YouTube notifications that somebody subscribed, but I just assume that they don't like my shit and they don't watch it.
You posted something about a video that did very well.
Okay, yeah, but that was a Much Music Pepsi Power Hour thing, so I can't really take any credit for that. I just happened to be the only person who hit record on their VCR that day, I guess.
Doesn't matter. You got a bunch of subscribers for it, so you did the work. But
then they have to watch this.
You recorded the video like 30 years ago. You held on to it, and then you put up on YouTube. You earned your subscribers.
31 years ago.
There you go. Even longer. Converted it, the whole bit. That takes work.
Yeah, I suppose. But like I said, those people that like that video are probably not going to be watching this.
You mean there isn't 100 people watching this right now?
I'm afraid not. But whatever. I'm having a good time. Yeah. Although I do have to eat my dinner pretty soon.
Yeah.
I've been on for about an hour and almost over 2 hours actually.
Oh, well, that's right. Yeah, because you had to restart the feed. So
yeah. So I've been on for like 2.5 hours or so. So I am getting a little weary.
It is. I used to do the long shows too, man, and it's exhausting.
Yeah. Well, we did. What was that one that we did with Aaron? It was like 3 hours, 15 minutes long. Was that one of the? Was that the soundtracks or favorite concerts? Barely favorite concerts of that.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a story-laden show where he had all the show and tell and you
can't help it, man. It's hard not to talk about that stuff,
Yeah. One thing we did get comments about Rob, how when he did the list shows with us, how he had the CD or the vinyl for everything. He had perfect show and tell.
Yeah, that was nice. Nice touch. Yeah.
Well, boys, I think I'm going to call it a night. I do thank you for showing up, and everybody, please check out Rob's start to his Halloween extravaganza tonight with the brides of the monsters, or the monster brides, or
I married a monster from outer space.
Right, or as Chris Starr says, sounds like my first wife.
My goodness.
So check that out on CKWR tonight on your radio dial if you're local, or on your internet dial if you are not. And also thanks to Aaron Liebold for showing up earlier and talking about his book and talking about epilepsy. And thanks to my wife for
you and her
letting me do this.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful night. I'm going to go eat some Subway. Have a great show tonight, Rob.
Yeah, thanks,
See you, Kevin.
All right. Thanks for having me on. It's good.
Bye.
Good times.
Have a good one.